History might not be a perfect echo, but it definitely knows how to rhyme. And honestly, that's no shock when you think about it. Why? Because at the core, it's the same humans with the same DNA, repeating the same patterns over and over again. It's like a loop we can't help but fall into. But here's the kicker. While history keeps replaying its greatest hits, you, as an individual, have the power to break free. Learn from past mistakes, ditch the bad habits, and rise above the average. Growth happens when you choose to stop repeating history's lazy refrain, and that's where the magic begins. Just because you've mastered something doesn't mean the entire world of crypto investors will follow suit. Far from it. Newcomers are constantly stepping into the game as others bow out. People age out of investing while fresh faces, armed with newfound cash and curiosity, start diving into the space, and guess what? Many of them will stumble into the same mistakes their predecessors made. It's part of the cycle. But here's the fascinating part. There are actually a few key metrics that can give you a sneak peek into what's coming next. The future isn't entirely a mystery. You just have to know where to look. You can't predict the future with absolute certainty, but I'm about to highlight two key factors that, combined with insights from countless XRP chart analysts, paint an exciting picture. While no one can say for sure what's coming, history has a way of repeating itself, or at least rhyming. And when we look at these specific metrics, the signs are pointing to something big. If trends continue as they have in the past, XRP could be on the verge of a face-melting rally, entering price discovery for the first time in over 7 years. The potential here is massive. And as I'll show you soon, we might be closer than you think. That said, timing remains a mystery. Anyone claiming to know the exact moment is either lying or letting their ego get the best of them. The truth is, charting is about probabilities, not guarantees. While I'm not a chart analyst myself, I know enough to understand that the odds are what really matter. I've always been fascinated by historic trends and the insights they offer. I love diving into the metrics highlighted by chart analysts, figuring out which ones actually hold up under scrutiny and which are just noise. And that's why I'm excited to share some of these findings with you today. But first, let's be clear, I'm not a financial expert. I'm not here to give you financial advice. And you definitely shouldn't make any buy or sell decisions based on what I say. I'm just a crypto enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos for fun. This is purely a hobby for me. Now, as I'm recording this, it's 4:26 IEM Central Time on Wednesday, May 14th, 2025. And here's where things stand. XRP is at $2.57, while Bitcoin is hovering just above $103,000, 0 cents, trading sideways the past couple days. But here's the kicker. Just a little while ago at 3:10 IEM, XRP hit $2.62 before pulling back slightly. Exciting, right? So many analysts believe we're at a pivotal moment right now, and I can't wait to dive into what that could mean for the market. At any moment, any minute, any hour, any day, you could see things take off. Not every analyst I follow shares that same level of urgency, though. Some believe it could still take weeks before the real action begins, but here's the thing. Almost every analyst I follow agrees on one major point. We're heading for alt season. XRP is set for price discovery, and it's not a matter of if, but when. The belief in that hasn't wavered. Oh, and speaking of market shifts, here's an interesting tidbit from CNBC yesterday. The annual inflation rate hit 2.3% in April. That's lower than expected and the lowest it's been since 2021. The doomsayers have missed the mark again, surprise, surprise. Despite their dramatic predictions, it's not the end of the world. Sure, inflation could rise in the future, but let's be honest, those shouting about imminent chaos and runaway inflation were flat out wrong. Here's the kicker. This latest number is only 0.1% below market expectations, yet some voices in the space just love to scream doomsday. If you've been on X lately, you've probably seen the noise, but honestly, I don't even bother with that crazy talk. The people pushing those narratives just don't hold water. Let's be clear. It's not the apocalypse, folks. Far from it. Can you believe it? The S&P 500 is actually up for the year. Take a look at this post from Charlie Bolello, Chief Market Strategist at Creative Plan. He shared some eye-popping stats yesterday morning after a 22% rally from the April 7 lows. The S&P 500 is now in the green for the year. Talk about one of the biggest short-term comebacks in market history. Remember just over a month ago? It felt like the sky was falling. Tariffs, chaos, and all that panic. People were throwing around words like depression. Yes, depression, not just recession. The doom and gloom were everywhere. Stocks to zero, economy gone, total meltdown. Well, how did that prediction hold up? Hint, not great. Throughout all the noise, I kept saying, hold on, folks, look beyond the headlines. Sure, it looked bad on the surface, but markets have a way of surprising us when we least expect it. We're not on the brink of a severe recession or sliding into a depression overnight just because of, trade wars or other global tensions. Let's not fall into the same panic we saw during the COVID era when everyone was convinced the supply chain was beyond repair. Remember the doomsday chatter? You don't get it. The supply chain's collapsing, except they were wrong. Yes, there were disruptions, but did the world stop turning? Absolutely not. Steps were taken, problems were addressed. Sure, they flooded the economy with printed money. It rained dollars like confetti. But hey, that's a story for another day. The point is, things didn't fall apart before, and they're not about to now. The idea that the market would completely crash, like the stock market collapse of the 1920s leading to the Great Depression, that was always overblown, almost laughable. Whether people feared it 5 years ago or are entertaining it now, it's just not how markets work. Instead, what we see today is risk on assets surging higher. Capitulation events, while scary in the moment, often turn into golden opportunities for those ready to invest with cash on hand. Take November 2022, for example, when FTX imploded. I remember jumping on this channel and on what was then called Twitter, now X, to talk about all the things I was buying. I told everyone, this is a capitulation event. And that's my playbook. I buy during capitulation. It's what I do. And it's paid off time and time again. It doesn't quite make sense, does it? But these moments are where the biggest opportunities lie. That was the bottom of the market cycle, so here we are. Risk on assets are taking the spotlight. Gold is dipping. Bitcoin dominance is sliding. Tether dominance is fading. It's all the signals you'd expect in a perfect storm. So what's next? Well, we've seen it before. Oh, and look at Ethereum. It's absolutely rocketing, just like I said it would. History has a funny way of repeating itself, and I'm no wizard. It's just how these cycles play out. The idea that Ethereum or anything else for that matter would go to zero just because the price was low, that's the same tired nonsense people said about XRP back in 2024. And let's take a moment to reflect. That wasn't the smartest move. It didn't add up. The price of an asset by itself doesn't tell the full story of its long-term potential. It just doesn't. Markets are strange like that. Sometimes assets are undervalued for no good reason. We saw it happen with XRP. More recently, it was Ethereum's turn, and now it's skyrocketing. Historically, this kind of momentum signals the start of altcoin season. Well, that's exactly what's happening right now, and it's hard not to get excited. Chart analyst Jelly summed it up well. All resistance levels have been broken. Clear skies ahead. Bitcoin. He's one of the experts expecting movement sooner rather than later. Still, others I follow aren't fully convinced. It could be weeks or even months. Time will tell. But one thing is clear. We're standing on the edge of something wild, something huge. And that I have no doubt about. Chart analyst Mustache is back with an exciting update. He's sharing the total to chart, the crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin, meaning it's all about the altcoins. And here's the big news. It's happening. Total 2 has officially broken out of a descending, broadening wedge that's been forming for over 5 months. This breakout is a massive deal, signaling a potential shift in the market. Everything is aligning so perfectly right now that unless an unexpected black swan event occurs, it feels like we're standing at a pivotal moment. But how long will this moment last? That's the tricky part. It could spend days, weeks, or even quarters. Take XRP as an example. There was a period in 2024 where it seemed like XRP was stuck, moving sideways or down for months. But looking back, that was the bottom against Bitcoin and the broader crypto market. It's hard to say how long this setup will take to fully play out, but the signs are there. Just like before, patience and perspective remain key. We don't have to wait 6 months to see what's coming. At least I don't think so, and I'll explain why in this video. Even if things unfold sooner rather than later, one thing is clear: the impact is going to be huge. We're diving into the future today by looking at historical trends and leaning on insights from expert chart analysts with solid track records. Here's why this matters. Take a look at this chart. See the green line? That's global liquidity. And the blue line? That's Bitcoin's price. Now here's the interesting part. There's a noticeable lead time with global liquidity, and Bitcoin has been closely tracking it over the years. While it's not a perfect 100% correlation, more often than not, Bitcoin's price moves in the same direction as liquidity. It's a pattern that's tough to ignore. So while we can't predict the future with absolute certainty, this chart gives us a pretty good glimpse. It's like having a sneak peek into what's coming. Call it an educated guess with a solid foundation. Sure, surprises happen, but if you've been betting on Bitcoin following global liquidity trends over the past decade, you'd have been right most of the time. Sometimes wrong, but mostly right. And that's why this insight is so compelling. And in many cases, you're absolutely right. You can often sense what's coming, especially when everything aligns perfectly in the crypto space. And that's what makes this all so thrilling. There's one key point I wanted to dive into today, specifically about XRP, which I'll discuss shortly. I've gathered loads of insights from top XRP chart analysts, and we're going to break it all down in this video. But first, let's talk about a post from chart analyst Mikey Bull Crypto. He shared an analysis of the Ethereum/BTC pair, saying Ethereum is now set to start outperforming Bitcoin until the peak of the cycle. The 3-year downtrend, it's officially over, folks. This is why I've been saying over and over, markets find their bottoms. I said the same thing about XRP throughout 2024, and when it finally broke out, the skeptics were proven wrong. And now I've been applying that same reasoning to Ethereum. Markets recover. They always do. Whether you believe in XRP's long-term future or not is a personal take, but data doesn't lie. And that's what we're here to unpack today. Everyone's entitled to their opinions, sure, but thinking Ethereum was going to zero just because the price dipped, let's be real. Nothing fundamentally changed about Ethereum in the short term to suggest that. It was a knee-jerk reaction, plain and simple. It's wild, though. Crypto markets have over 15 years of history showing us how people react. Assets sometimes crash by over 90%, only to bounce back with insane surges. It's not rocket science, it's human behavior. Bitcoin has done it, Ethereum has done it, even XRP. The patterns repeat. That's the game. Chart analyst Dan Gambardello is back with fresh insights on Ethereum, and it's big news. He points out that Ethereum is breaking into the apex of its multi-year triangle. If you've been paying attention, you'll know just how significant this moment is. Personally, I've been predicting this exact pullback and retest of the triangle for a while now, and here we are. Now, here's the kicker. If this triangle busts, the altcoin market could absolutely explode. That's the key takeaway I want to emphasize. Yes, you read that right. Altcoins could go wild. Historically, when Ethereum gains momentum, it rips higher and altcoins aren't far behind. Right now, all the pieces are falling into place perfectly. In recent videos, I've mentioned a key metric highlighted by the altcoin breadth indicator. The altcoin breadth indicator. Over the past 5 years, every time this indicator has opened up, it's accurately signaled a major market move. And guess what? It just flipped on. Honestly, with all the data I've shared, I don't see how anyone could stay bearish right now. Everything points to an imminent breakout. The data doesn't lie. In this moment, it feels like the calm before the storm. The blockchain backer just dropped a new video on X and it's got everyone buzzing. XRP's price chart is climbing alongside Bitcoin and he's eyeing an $8.00 plus target for XRP. Exciting stuff, right? He also pointed out that the breadth indicator is signaling improved market conditions, something he's been tracking closely. According to him, the current setup means the market could go parabolic at any moment. Yes, at any moment. Imagine waking up one day and bam, off to the races. But here's the catch. He cautioned that Bitcoin could still do an ABC correction first. If that happens, XRP might not see another major move until it's complete. A process that could take weeks. It's a waiting game, but one with some serious potential. The blockchain backer remains confident, though. He firmly believes XRP will peak this cycle somewhere between $8.00 and $10.00. A conservative but solid prediction. And honestly, he might just nail it. Most analysts believe it's heading higher, but let's be honest, no one knows for sure. The argument is solid, but the outcome is inevitable either way. For those of us who've stuck around over the years, here's the real question. Depending on how much XRP you hold, do you even need it to hit $10.00 to see life-changing gains? For many listeners, the answer is probably yes, but for long-timers, the transformation could come well before that. Think about it. XRP bottomed out this cycle at just 28 cents in June 2022. If it soars to $8.00 or $10.00, that's a phenomenal run by any standard. Let's talk about XRP and its potential. Analysts are predicting it could hit $20.00 or even $30.00, and honestly, they might be onto something. Imagine if Ethereum doubles its previous all-time high and nears $10,000.00. XRP could follow suit and hit that $20.00 sweet spot. It's not as far-fetched as it sounds. Check this out. Chart analyst Captain Fibik just shared an update on the XRP US. He's calling for a ride to $5.00, saying the falling wedge breakout is confirmed and the bulls are fully in control. His advice: accumulate for the midterm, hold tight, and thank him later. It's hard to argue with that logic. In fact, I'd bet a lot of you reading this are already hodling XRP, waiting for that moonshot. Analysts everywhere are buzzing, pointing out that this chart has officially broken out of its formation. I've seen countless posts from experts highlighting this trend. It's just another fascinating example. When it comes to specifics, though, I'm seeing a lot of mixed signals. There's no clear consensus right now on what's next in the short term. Will XRP and the rest of the market suddenly surge, or are we in for a bit more waiting? The truth is, I'm not seeing enough alignment among the analysts I trust. Usually, when most of them share a similar outlook, I feel confident about the likely outcome. But this time, the opinions are too scattered to call it. Not always, but every so often, the improbable becomes reality. And while I'm not seeing it yet, that's exactly why tracking Analyst every single day is so fascinating. Each perspective adds a layer to the bigger picture, and when those rare moments do happen, I can't wait to share them on the channel. If you've been following me for a while, you know those are the moments that stand out most. It's like treating each chart analyst as a data point in a grand experiment. We pull together insights from solid analysts. You start to see patterns of what's likely to happen. Sure, nothing's ever guaranteed, but that's what makes it so exciting, especially when you've got skin in the game. For me, this isn't just tracking data, it's an adrenaline rush, and I absolutely love it. Crypto Insight UK just shared an intriguing update. XRP is battling a key level on the 3-day chart. If it breaks through, we could be looking at a retest of its all-time high. Could this be the moment we've been waiting for? According to them, we might be right on the edge of something big. I've seen plenty of similar posts from chart analysts, but there's another indicator I want to dive into. Something fascinating that feels like a glimpse into the future. At first glance, you might think, why does this even matter? But trust me, it's worth exploring. What you're looking at here is an XRP/US oil trading pair. Yes, US oil. At first, it might seem random, but here's the deal. In trading, everything is connected. Every asset bought or sold ripples through the global economy, weaving a massive web of interdependence. It's all connected in ways most people don't realize. That's the simple version. Now, let's break down what this specific pair could mean and why it's far more important than it appears on the surface. It certainly seems that way lately. If you're wondering what the future holds for XRP's price, let's dive into a recent post from chart analyst Dom that reads, XRP/USDT update. Could there be a cleaner range? This chart belongs in a textbook. The importance of this range high is clear. If it breaks, the chances of XRP reaching a new all-time high increase significantly. Look at what happened with BTC/USDT just 2 weeks ago when it hit its all-time high. The implication? Something similar could be in store for XRP. But patience is key. This kind of breakout needs momentum. Dom isn't making promises here, but his observations point to one thing. If we're betting on probability, this is definitely worth watching. We just witnessed Bitcoin's dramatic rise after hitting its all-time high on the same trading pair, and there's still plenty of room for BTC to climb. When Bitcoin goes for its next move, it could trigger the final parabolic run of this market cycle, a historic peak that's been typical of its trends. History doesn't repeat itself exactly, but it often rhymes. And betting on those patterns, that's usually a solid strategy. Here's the deal. If XRP's range holds the same significance we've seen before, then buckle up, because this thing could be ready to explode. That's why I have so much respect for chart analysts who dive deep into the data, especially those like Dom who bring fresh perspectives to what's going on in the market. Seriously, how many analysts do you know that are analyzing the XRP-US oil pair? Not many. But here's the kicker. It's proven to be a leading indicator. I've shared Dom's findings in other posts and videos, and time and again, this pair seems to predict what's coming for the XRP-USD chart. So if XRP-US oil is looking strong, history suggests XRP-USD might follow suit. Why does this happen? That's an interesting conversation right there. Honestly, I might just ask Dom about it. Is he simply observing the correlation, or does he have a theory about why XRP-US oil leads XRP-USD? If I get an answer, you can bet I'll share it in another video. I'm not sure what the answer is here. Sometimes you're just observing, right? Taking a step back and saying, well, this is where things are. Open to ideas about the causes, figuring out what's driving it all. Anyway, here's an update from Dom. he posted about Bitcoin's spot premium. Despite Bitcoin climbing by $30,000, its spot premium is still holding strong. According to him, this is a reliable way to gauge whether the market is healthy or overheating during an uptrend. So far, every single cycle top has come with a perp premium, which we haven't hit yet. His take: there's still room for upside. He's betting the price is more likely to climb than fall, though he's cautious about timing. Tom also pointed out something interesting. Ethereum, XRP, and Solana all still have their spot premiums intact. To him, this reinforces the idea that the market isn't overheated based on the metrics we've tracked during this entire cycle. I have to say, I buy into this. And another thought came to me while reading it. During alt season, euphoria tends to pull in retail investors. That's when you see a flood of Google searches for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. But right now, that wave of retail buzz hasn't hit yet. In November, we saw some serious action across the board, especially for XRP, with spikes that carried into January when XRP hit a new all-time high. There was a noticeable surge then, but fast forward to recent days, despite all the buzz and excitement in the crypto space, XRP hasn't seen a major spike in Google searches, nor has Bitcoin or other big players. That kind of height typically shows up at the peak of the cycle during that final parabolic push where euphoria takes over. We're not there yet, which might be a sign that things aren't overheated just yet. Chart analyst Steph is Crypto recently shared an interesting take. He predicts that once XRP breaks past $3.00, it'll shoot up rapidly to $5.00 and then take off into double digits, potentially reaching $10.00 to $30.00 as a new all-time high. Plenty of analysts are watching that $3.00 mark closely. It could be the tipping point for XRP's next big move. Once we break past that key level, whether it's $2.95 or $3.10, the exact number doesn't matter. It's the momentum that counts. Around that point, it's like hitting thin air and the price could surge rapidly, possibly shooting up to the $5.00 range. Why? Because if there aren't many sell orders in between and demand is high, the price skyrockets to the next major sell point. If the closest sell order is at $5.00, that's where it's heading. It might not jump instantly from $3.00 to $5.00, but the trajectory would be fast. You get the idea. Interestingly, there's also chatter about XRP hitting over $30.00. For the first time, he's mentioned a range of $10.00 to $30.00, suggesting even the lower end could hit a peak of $10.00. Not sure, but either way, this could be absolutely life-changing for so many people. Honestly, I'd be thrilled with that outcome. If it hits $10.00, it'd be insane. Check out this post from chart analyst Sistine Research. Here's a market cap XRP dominance percentage chart. At the time this was shared, XRP's dominance sat at 4.64%. The expectation? It could climb to at least 12%. Now, this highlighted box shows all the way up to the all-time high dominance of 32% back in 2017. Will we see that again? Probably not. There are just way too many coins in the market now, but honestly, that's not the point. What really matters is where XRP lands in USD. Even hitting 10% dominance with today's market cap of $3.3 billion, 0 cents could be massive. If XRP's market dominance jumps from just under 5% to nearly 10%, you're looking at more than doubling its price, easily pushing it past $5.00. That's right. At that point, XRP could be knocking on Ethereum's door, ready to flip it. Very exciting, right? Now, let's dream a bit bigger. Say XRP hits 12% market dominance, a realistic scenario with many analysts predicting dominance in the 10 to 15% range. So let's stick with 12%. What if the total crypto market cap doesn't just hold at $3.3 billion 0 cents, but doubles to $6.6 billion 0 cents. With 12% dominance, you're talking about XRP hitting $20 0 cents. See how quickly things can escalate in the world of crypto? It's a space where momentum builds fast and anything feels possible. But of course, no one knows for sure what's coming. One big unknown is how much global money will flow into crypto as liquidity continues to rise. The potential, huge. The certainty, well, that's what makes it thrilling. Bitcoin often leads the charge, with the altcoin market historically following close behind. It's a familiar dance in the crypto world. We know something big is brewing, but the real mystery is the dollar inflows. How much cash will actually pour in? That's the wild card. Bigger inflows mean a higher market cap. Reminder, market cap isn't the same as cash inflows. And if XRP manages to grab a significant slice of that pie, even briefly, we're talking explosive potential here. Could we see XRP hit $20.00 plus? It's not impossible. Not saying it will, but it could. Chart analyst Ali Martinez recently highlighted that on-chain data shows no major resistance clusters for XRP ahead, with key support sitting at $2.38, a level worth keeping an eye on. What's more, he pointed out on May 11th that XRP's governing pattern could be a symmetrical triangle, which sets a possible target of $15.00. And you know what? That's not a wild stretch. A $15.00 XRP? Totally within reason, folks. The stars might just align. Here's an update from chart analyst Nebraska Gooner, shared with his massive audience of 382,000 followers. Quick disclaimer, he's a well-known sufferer of XRP derangement syndrome. Yep, when it comes to charting XRP, he's all, by request only, guys. Yeah, don't blame me for this one. You can almost hear him saying, I'm not an XRP fan, I promise. But here's the kicker. Despite the shade, even he admits the charts don't lie. He notes a sloppy inverse head and shoulders breakout with a short-term target of around $2.90. Yes, even XRP skeptics are like, okay, fine, number go up. And if it hits that level, it'll feel way bigger than when it last did on December 2nd, 2024. Why? Because this time the stars are aligning, perfect market conditions, alt season, and full-blown mania. Here's a post from chart analyst Mr. Parabullock that he shared with his 29,000 followers. And I have to say, it seems like he might be dealing with a serious case of XRP derangement syndrome. Why? Well, he's calling XRP a meme coin. Classic symptom. Typically, when you slap that label on XRP, it's a sure sign the condition has taken hold. Honestly, I'm holding out hope that the medical community develops some kind of miracle ointment for this. Something you can rub on and poof, you stop thinking, with applesauce for brains. Now that would be a Christmas miracle, wouldn't it? And let's get to the juicy part. Here's what he actually said. XRP hit its pullback target and now looks ready for a high target. He's calling for a 2x to 4x move. Oh, and amusingly, he referred to XRP as her. Apparently, before the risk-reward ratio for holding gets loco. He then took a jab with a laugh emoji saying Credible Crypto's 10 cents target has been around since 1995. Ouch. He even called XRP one of the OG meme coins, suggesting it might end meme season. Clearly, he's trying to rile up XRP holders. That's the whole game here, right? Meanwhile, Credible Crypto has a much different take. He's sticking with a bold prediction, $20 to $30 for XRP. And get this, he refuses to sell any XRP until it hits at least $10. He's been vocal about this for a while now, and he's not holding back. Even Mr. Parabolic himself is predicting a massive surge, potentially a four-fold jump from where we stand today that would push XRP past the $10.00 mark. Crazy, right? When even the skeptics start throwing out numbers like this, you've got to wonder, maybe there's something brewing here. Check out this post from Chart Analyst World of Charts. XRP has broken out and already delivered a 20% plus profit with more gains on the horizon. His short-term target, $5.70. And he's not talking years. He's charting this for the coming weeks. The momentum's real and the charts are looking bullish. Here's an update from chart analyst Egg Greg Crypto. He emphasizes that maintaining a price above $2.50 and at worst $2.42 is critical. If those levels break, then $2.20 becomes the last line of macro support to sustain the bullish momentum. Key levels to watch, folks. Meanwhile, chart analyst Dark Defender is fired up. He notes that on the daily chart, XRP just broke a major resistance line that's been holding since January 17th. The relative strength index, super bullish right now. Support levels are at $2.36 and $2.46, with resistance at $2.65. He's calling for a third wave to kick off soon. Short term, he's confident we'll hit those targets and even sees a peak somewhere around $18. Bold, but not crazy. Now let's talk XRP's current action. It's hit $2.61 while I've been recording this. Momentum is clearly building. A quick refresh shows it touched $2.63 just minutes ago. When will this big move start? I'm right here with you all waiting and watching. It's 4:55 a.m. Central. And as I wrap this up, let me just say things are starting to move. Actually, scratch that. They already have. Just a few days ago, we were sitting around $2.06 or $2.07. And now look, it's climbing. In the last 7 days alone, we've seen a solid 22%. Yep, you heard that right. 417%. I can't lie. I love seeing those numbers. It's the kind of thing that makes you do a double, even triple take when you wake up in the morning. I've had those moments where I check the price of XRP and for a split second, I'm convinced my app must have glitched, but nope, it's real. And then comes the adrenaline, the kind of rush that makes you want to shout it from the rooftops. Those days are pure gold. And honestly, I think we've got more of those ahead, just saying. But hey, let me be clear. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't go buying or selling anything based on what I say. Seriously, that would not be a smart move. Always do your research, folks.